Hello, so today we're going to talk about plant structures. We're going to go through the leaves and then the stems and then the roots. So leaves are the primary site of photosynthesis in most plants, unless those plants don't have leaves or those leaves are very reduced like in cactuses, right? Some leaves like bracts can actually attract pollinators, right? So let's go through some different types of leaves. So you've all seen a pine tree of some kind. Those are needle-like leaves, right? Um, Primarily, those are also found on eudicots or dicot plants, right? There's also simple leaves versus compound leaves. Simple leaves are leaves where there is an axillary bud or where another part of the stem could grow out, right? And that leaf is just one leaf that's coming off of that stem, right? So this would be a simple leaf, right? So there's a simple leaf right here, and then you probably can't see it very clearly, but inside of there, between the stem and the leaf, there is a little bud. Okay, so that would be a simple leaf. And then a compound leaf would be something like this. So a compound leaf, this whole thing is one leaf, right? So this whole part right here is one whole leaf, and each of these little leaflets that are coming off of that leaf do not have little buds on them, right? The bud is down here at the base between where the stem is and where that leaf comes off. Okay, so each one of those little leaves that come off of that one leaf are called leaflets, right? Next is monocot leaves. So these are leaves that are found in the monocot group within flowering plants. All of them are parallel. They have parallel veins in them, right? Those veins are the vascular tissue, right? And then eudicot leaves are branched, right? So in this leaflet here, you can see that there's one main stem and then there's branches coming out of that stem. So this would be a dicot. There's another type, right? And you can see it in that maple leaf there. You can also see it in this leaf here. This would be called palmate venation. And you can see that there's not just one major vein coming, right? The vein branches, and then there's branches coming off of that vein. Some adaptations of leaves. Waxy cuticles are really important for plants, right? It helps them retain water, and you can see this leaf is really shiny. That's the waxy cuticle, right? Some leaves also undergo salt excretion. This happens in plants that live in like estuaries. It also happens in plants that live in salty environments like in the desert. So they can excrete salt on their leaves, right? That salt excretion has two purposes: to get rid of salt, but it also can reduce freezing at night. So it sort of acts like an antifreeze. It can also increase albedo, which is the reflectiveness of that leaf. Trichomes can do the same thing. And I don't know if you can tell on this plant, let's see, get my camera to focus, but it's really hairy. And those little hairs, if you can see them, are trichomes. And trichomes are just hairy projections. They're not real hair. They're just projections of the cell, right? But they can increase albedo, right? They can reduce transpiration, right? So they have a lot of purposes, right? And lots of plants have them either on their leaves or on their stems. Right? So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the stem. The stem is primarily for structural support. They can be woody or not woody. It also helps position leaves so that the leaves are getting the amount of sunlight that they need, right? It helps, all stems have vascular tissue in them, and that helps move food essentially from the leaf down to other parts of the plant. It helps move water from the roots up to the leaves, right, and nutrients up to the leaves, right? Sometimes it can be used as food storage, right? But in general, structural support, right, and to help conduct water, nutrients, and food. Right? So here are some stems that you might be familiar with, right? Asparagus is a stem, right? Those little triangle things coming off of the asparagus, those are the leaves, right? Potatoes are stems. It's a part of the plant that stores that starch, right? Daffodils, their stem is down here, right, and the roots come out of that stem. And then you have cactuses, and cactuses, the stem is actually doing all the photosynthesis. The leaves are the spines that are on the cactus, and they are very much reduced. Usually, or primarily, that reduction is so that less transpiration happens, right? It helps increase that boundary layer. Right? And then the last part of plants is their roots, right? Roots, their job is to absorb water and minerals from the soil, right? And they also help anchor the plant to the ground, right? Or to whatever substrate that plant is found in. Right? And there are two major types of roots and then a few other sort of special types of roots. The first major type of root is a fibrous root, okay? Fibrous roots, all about the same size. They branch out. They tend to absorb shallow nutrients and water from essentially around that plant, right? They can also help explore different areas around that plant, right? And then the other type is a taproot. Taproots tend to be larger, they are longer, and that helps get the plant more water and nutrients that are farther down that the fibrous roots can't really get, right? They also help store starches, right? Carrots are a root, right? So carrots are a type of taproot, right? And then another couple types of roots that are kind of special. You don't find them in all plants, but in a few plants you do. One of them is buttress roots. These are roots that help support plants that are found in windy areas, right? In shallow soil, so soils that they can't get very far down, right? And then there's prop roots or aerial roots, and the really good example of these are mangroves, right? So this mangrove forest down here, all of those roots, all that woody stuff that's down on the bottom, those are their roots, and that helps essentially raise them out of the water to some degree, right? And that's all I have for you, so I will see you next time.